Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into one of the absolute most fascinating, tragic, and literally terrifying character arcs in the entire Knights of Terrodyl universe. We are tracking the evolution of Baalbaddon. We're going to follow his path from being a divine celestial servant all the way down to a monstrous entity of pure, unadulterated evil. It's a massive story of corruption, so let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Well, I need death. I need the blood to be spilled. I need it. I crave more of it. Just let that sink in. This isn't just some villain making an empty threat, right? This is a chilling declaration of a deeply rooted, totally uncontrollable addiction. This quote perfectly captures his mindset at the exact moment of his ultimate defiance against his creator. It's the moment the mask completely slips off.
Which leads us directly to the core mystery of this whole mythological arc. How exactly does an archangel of war, a being created for a divine purpose, become the ultimate demon of darkness? Like, what actually has to break inside a celestial being to trigger that kind of catastrophic shift? Well, to figure that out, we gotta go back to the very beginning.
Part 1. The Archangel of War, a divine servant.
So, before the darkness really took over, Baalbaddon was a powerful celestial servant. He worked directly under the command of Marsonis, the human god of war. Now, the absolutely crucial thing to understand here is their philosophical clash. Marsonis believed in fighting fair wars, using strength and intellect. He had rules. But Baalbaddon, beneath that shining divine exterior, he was secretly harboring this growing, uncontrollable lust for blood and indiscriminate death. Basically, he was a ticking time bomb just waiting for the right conflict to set him off.
Part 2. The Battle of Heimsvidal, the turning point. And this brilliantly illustrates the timeline of his fall. That tipping point I mentioned, it arrived during the brutally long war between the Wood Elves and the Imperial humans at Heimsvidal. While Marsonis just saw a fair fight playing out, the sheer, staggering amount of spilled blood finally caused Baalbaddon to totally snap. He drops from the heavens behind Marsonis' back and literally just starts slaughtering everyone. Elf, human, it doesn't matter. When Marsonis intervenes and orders him to stop, Baalbaddon outright defies him. He's completely blinded by this thousand-mile stare of corruption. And this rapid escalation ends with Baalbaddon being thrown into a massive crevasse and permanently sealed in hell.
But actually, hold on, we need to look closer at that physical confrontation, because it is absolutely epic. Baalbaddon, raging and humiliated, actually tries to charge his own creator. No way, right? But Marsonis simply holds out his hand and screams, "I am the god of war." The sources describe Marsonis as this 10-foot-tall mountain of muscle with gold and silver wings. He literally grabs Baalbaddon by the face and throws him backward like a crumpled-up paper ball. It's just a staggering display of divine power stopping pure chaos right in its tracks.
Part 3. Banished to the Abyss, the physical fall.
So Marsonis acts decisively. He slams his foot into the battlefield, cracking the earth wide open. Baalbaddon plunges down the crevasse, pushed deeper and deeper by Marsonis' sheer will. And as he falls, the literal scorching heat of the underworld begins to char and blacken his divine wings. After what must feel like an eternity, he regains his bearings and actually tries to fly straight back up to the surface. But Marsonis sees him coming. He slams his foot on the earth again, and the ground seals up flawlessly above him. Boom! Baalbaddon is trapped.
Part 4. Demonic Metamorphosis, Hatred Manifest.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it contrasts his fallen state with his former glory. Trapped in that hellish landscape, with literally nothing but his hunger for revenge and his insatiable bloodlust, Baalbaddon begins to physically change. His psychological decay actually triggers this horrifying mutation. He goes from being an archangel with these brilliant gold and silver wings, a servant of fair combat, to a demon lord with permanently charred, blackened wings. He becomes a being whose only goal is indiscriminate slaughter. Let's really look at the visual metaphors of his corruption here. His internal lust for blood literally reshaped his anatomy. Those once divine wings, totally ruined and permanently blackened. He develops these protruding horns from his forehead that glow a fiery red-orange whenever he's enraged. Small, bone-like structures break through the skin along his spine. Throw in sharp, wolf-like fangs and eyes that are just an endless, pitch-black void. And yeah, he has literally become the monster he was harboring inside all along.
Part 5. The Lord of Death, a Reign of Terror.
But, a demon lord doesn't stay buried forever. Fast forward to about 200 years ago, when these traitorous cultists in Asmodel orchestrated a horrifying ritual to bring him back to the surface. And upon his return, he is definitely no longer known as an archangel. In fact, according to the theological research of Jeeves, he is officially recognized in the ancient tomes as Baalbaddon, the demon lord of death and debauchery. Let's move to and see how this builds into a catastrophic global threat for the realm. How exactly did he even return? Well, the cultists lured the king to Asmodel and performed this brutal blood sacrifice right on an upside-down wooden pentagram over a pit of fire. The second Baalbaddon stepped out of that smoke, a supernatural darkness and these strange, eerie cloud formations spread over Terrodyl, completely blocking out the sun. He now commands legions of fanatical demon worshippers from his dark castle in Asmodel. And honestly, the worst part? He has the power to raise his ancient demon generals straight from hell. We're talking monstrous entities like Belgoroth, this giant demon hound, and Umbrasyl, a master of shadow assassins. The threat level is absolutely off the charts.
But the thing about Baalbaddon is, he isn't just some brute force conqueror. He's a deeply sadistic manipulator. When the Knights of Terrodyl finally draw his attention, he doesn't just attack them physically, no. He traps them in their own sanctuary using a fire golem effigy, and then he mentally forces every single member to vividly relive their deepest, most agonizing traumas, like the exact moments where they had to watch loved ones or innocents die. He gleefully mocks their helplessness, basically pointing out that if they couldn't stop death back then, they definitely can't stop him now. Then, having utterly broken their spirits, he just vanishes in a massive destructive fireball. It goes to show he doesn't just want the knights dead, he wants them broken, humiliated, and entirely stripped of hope. Which leaves us with the ultimate taunt he delivers right before that fireball explodes. It's the question that really hangs over the entire realm of Terrodyl right now. Are you worthy enough to defeat me? I mean, think about it. When an entity was born as an archangel, fell to the deepest pits of hell, mutated into a literal lord of death, and actively feeds on your deepest psychological traumas, how could mere mortals ever hope to fight back against this absolute pure evil? That is the terrifying question we are left to ponder. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helped you visualize the incredible descent of Baalbaddon. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.